Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Magical Maiden. Thanks for joining me today on my everyday vlogs. So there might be a few interruptions because my cat Rudy's in the room as usual, Salem's sleeping as usual, and Magic is either running around somewhere outside or sleeping on the patio. I wanted to come on here and say happy holidays. That's not it. I made a new welcome, you've probably seen it already, and I also had a few announcements that I've got a new playlist going. My new playlist is shorts, short videos. Not me in shorts, but short videos. They're under a minute, or they're a minute, or 2 minutes, or 3 minutes, but they're short videos. And I have one up there now, and I have a few that are already edited that I'm going to try to get up. I'll do a few a day. It's easier doing very little short videos than it is, doing a 18 minute, because there's a lot to edit and cut out. Because usually when I'm doing a 15 to 20 minute video, it was really like 40 minutes of me with a bunch of bloopers of me, talking, or the cats interrupting me, or me cursing because something happened, and or there's some interruption or noise. So now you know. So anyway, do you like my background? I made it all Christmassy. Most of you know I always change it up. And oh, Rudy wants to say hello. Hold on. Who am I to stop him? All right, here we go. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. No, Mama. Okay. So I decorated with the Christmas tree. It has a star on top, but you can't see because I need the camera at a certain angle. I made it Christmassy because this was my paranormal background, kind of, but I can't really go out and buy a backdrop for every season or holiday, so I holiday it up. And it kind of looks like winter background back there. And I added my little snowflakes. I have my little Christmas blanket. Okay, Rudy, see you later. So if you haven't seen my new updated welcome, go check it out. And it doesn't mean that I'm done with my paranormal vlogs. I might have one or two or a few scattered. But as you know, the season's basically over. I start in September through October, but I do have one or two more. Let's see, what would I wanted to get? So I just wanted us to come on and say hello, and so I just really wanted to come on and just do a little bit of chit chat and say hello. Now, some of you that watch my channel for my jewelries and whatever, my jewelry tutorials, that is, if you want, I have some Christmas ones that I did last year of how to make snowman earrings, I think wreath earrings, candy cane earrings, and also crosses using beads and everything. Also be used as ornaments, so they don't just have to be for jewelry. You can use them as ornaments on the tree. And go ahead and check those out. They're in my jewelry tutorial playlist. So they were from last year, but And I also just put up my Christmas decor vlog. It should be the one right before here. So I uploaded that yesterday. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out. You can see all my decorations. Now, since then, I've added a few more things. I don't have many for the outside because most of you know that I used to live in an apartment and only moved to this house last year. So we're slowly acquiring stuff, but it does cost money to get decorations, and we're still trying to remodel and fix the house up. So, you have to pick and choose which you're going to spend on, especially when you're limited. Those always go longer because I have to keep stopping for this one. The other day, my sinuses were bothering me. The weather's been getting cold now. I live in southern Alabama, and I'm like an hour away from Florida, but it gets pretty cold here. It was like 43 last night, and when the colder weather comes, my nose, this is gross, but I get like a bloody nose. And I used to get that, not as bad though, until I moved upstate New York where it was really cold. And then all of a sudden it'd be like floodgates coming out. So I remember one time I was talking to my supervisor, who was at work, and we were all complaining about this one lady that was driving us crazy. And I'm trying to have a conversation and my nose just starts bleeding. So here I am talking to my supervisor with like a roll of paper towels, all blood. And he's just like, okay. It was funny. It must have been such a scene. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I had to get it out, and I was just telling him stuff, so I couldn't stop. So it's just like, I go, could you hold on? Because I literally must have went through like a bunch of paper towels. Um, so the other night, because we've had to use the heat again, your sinuses get dry. Well, the it was like a week or two ago. So where was I? Hold on. This cat's gonna drive me crazy. He's meowing, he wants me to pick him up, he wants to go down. So anyway, a few weeks ago, because it finally got cold, it's beginning, and my sinuses were driving me crazy. Well, we were watching a show, we were about to, I think, watch a movie, I don't remember. But all of a sudden, I felt like a little tickle. It always starts with like a little tickle. You feel like maybe a piece of cat fur got caught up in my nose or something. And I go to blow it and blood. Well, usually it'll stop after a few minutes, but it kept going and going and going. It got so bad that it wouldn't stop. It was bleeding for over an hour, just gushing and chunks. And I know that sounds gross, but like chunks, like where is this coming from? Is my brain falling out of my head? And I ended up using almost a whole roll of paper towels trying to stop it. It was like everywhere, and I didn't know how to stop it. I was tilting my, finally I realized, I looked online, that you pinch your soft spot of your nose and you hold it for a few seconds or a minute or two, and then it slowly does. But this was horrendous. I mean, I was just blowing and chunks of blood, like little blobbers and just stuff. Like where, you don't even know where this is all coming from. Was ending. I was afraid because I don't want to go to the hospital. And I was like, am I going to have to? After that ordeal, it was over an hour. After it was finally done, when I finally realized you do that, I was wiped out. I was dizzy. I probably lost like a gallon of blood. I was dizzy. It was horrible. So now when I get some of those, because I got it last night twice. Once when I was watching TV, I felt a little tickle, and I thought because I was just kissing Salem, who's a fluffy cat, that maybe his fur went up my nose like usual. And when I blew, the blood started, and I did that trick, and then blew a little, and then it was fine. Last night, I woke up in the middle of the night. Again, I felt that trickle, and I went to blow my nose, and then it was just all there, and I had to get up. It was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, really? I don't have time for this. So I just pinched it, and then it stopped. And then I went back to sleep. That was horrendous, but it was scary when it wouldn't stop for over an hour. So if you ever have that problem, pinch the soft spot of your nose. Just hold it for a few seconds or a minute or two. Get all your blowing out beforehand. Kind of do that, and then, try not to mess with yourself, even if it's like runny or whatever. Just dab it. That's what the cold weather does. When I lived in Florida, I never had an issue. Only when the temperature did drop. And even though I lived in South Florida, the temperature dropped one time to like 20, and it was freezing. That's when it starts. But it was very little, and I hardly had that issue at all, ever, when I lived in Florida. So I have to suffer with that. I don't like it, but at least now I know the trick to stop it. Because they don't lean back, because that's not going to stop it. Leaning back will not stop it. Matter of fact, then you end up swallowing your blood, and what happens is you get a bad stomach ache and you get nauseous. So I know it sounds gross, and it's all gross, and some of you get grossed out, but hey, it happens to a lot of you, especially around this time of the year. It happens to me, so I'm sharing that with you. Hold on, I want to unplug my computer so the fan isn't going. So if you hear like a snowy noise, it's not the snow in the background. So I have to get going. I have to make a salad, but I did want to say hello and tell you about my new shorts videos playlist now. So when you scroll, like when you get to my page, you just scroll. I have different playlists, and I will be adding one more, which are my older videos. So be sure that you check that out. Older videos that I made a long time ago, I saved them all on a USB stick. So I'm going to be doing that too. Oh, so before I forget, I wanted to tell you about and I got sidetracked by my cat. the older videos playlist. Please look for that older video playlist. That might be what I'm calling it. Anyway, it's going to have all my old videos because I saved them. And there's a good story about, and in there I have a few, anywhere from old product reviews, which they still have, so it's still good. I have just chit chat about or showing my jewelry and things like that. One of them, well, there's a few that I tell funny stories. One of them was when I was living in Florida and I was married to my ex-husband and I had a house there. And a mutual friend, it was a couple, a husband and wife. And the husband used to sometimes, like, because he was into carpentry, he used to drop off things for my husband to make and, you know. And one day he stops over and I wasn't expecting him. And he asked me if my husband was home. I was like, no, it's really early. He's at work. And he goes, oh, well, I brought you a lounge chair. He went garbage picking and got me a lounge chair. Anyway, long story short, he kept coming over with excuses early when he knew my husband was working. My ex, mind you, not my current. And then what he did was anyway, long story short, before I get too into it, he ended up getting naked and he wouldn't leave my house. So you've got to watch that. I go into it in detail. And that was one of my older videos that I did like 2 years ago. So you got to check that. Another story was when me and my friend were walking home from night school, because when I was younger, my parents died when I was young, and I had to drop out of day school to go to work, and so then I had to enroll in night school. And so and our school was really close to my house, so what happened was me and my friend, she dropped out just to hang out with me. So she ended up dropping out of day school, and then I said, well, come to night school. And she went to night school, which was a lot more fun. And so we were coming home from the high school after night school was over, and I guess it was about 10ish, and there was this guy, and he was naked, and he was following us, and he was doing things to himself as he was walking. I tell that story. Then I tell a story about, and then I tell you a story about my two crazy ex-neighbors that I used to live in a beautiful apartment before here. It was by the woods. It was a small complex, and I lived in the back where there was hardly any people, and it wasn't that full up, and I had the woods and the pond. I actually had the best apartment in the whole complex, and everybody knew that. They're like, how did you get that? And the management was so nice. Everybody that worked at the front, because it was the owner's sister that managed, they were all nice. And everything was wonderful. I used to love doing my yoga, my meditation. It was a beautiful, very sunlit place. And I felt like it was my little house because I had the corner apartment, so I had the corner lot with a lot of foliage and little flowers that the previous renter had planted. And anyway, two lunatics named Jill and Ron ended up moving above us. They were crazy people. They were mentally insane. I think she was really the biggest problem, but he was no better because he was dating her and he went along with it. They were the worst tenants. They were totally insane, and I tell you about the crazy antics that she would do to try to push me. She was also an habitual liar. She couldn't stop herself. She would make up these outlandish stories, and everybody knew it. But he didn't. He was clueless. She used to stir the pot and then run back to him. She would create the problem, and then he'd get all mad and try to threaten people. He almost tried to hit me one time. He came in and he was about to, and he did, my poor little neighbors next door to us, really nice older couple, and he started a fight with him. It looked like he wanted to, he came out all sweaty with no shirt, like he was about to beat my neighbor up. And me and my husband went out and sit there, for support for my neighbor. Anyway, they were crazy, but they were evicted. We proudly got them evicted, but they were going to be evicted anyway because they were nothing but trouble and nobody liked them in the whole complex. And so there's a video of that, and that will be coming soon. So please look for my older videos playlist coming soon. Probably in a week or two when I have time to create it and upload it, okay? I have other things hanging here like Christmas stockings on the wall and lots of other stuff that I've done since my Christmas vlog. And I'm gonna go because my cat's driving me crazy. I have to go make a nice big salad for dinner. That's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna be an early dinner. So thanks for watching my vlogs. I will be back I'll probably come back later, make more. I hope you like my Christmas tree. So thanks for watching. So I'll be back soon. Thanks for watching. Happy holidays. Bye.